So today we have with us Rohit from Reskill. He's a co-founder of Reskill, and he's been having experience in this field over 18 years. And he's been also co-founder for Incubate India and a lot of other firms. He's been able to build revenue systems for a lot of organizations. So welcome to the show, Rohit. Your
Thank you.
mic is yeah.
Thank you.
So, Rohit, there are a lot of people would want to see you as an idol because you've been in this industry from over past 18 years and you've seen a lot of, I feel, a lot of fields which you have seen over these corporations, like in e-learning and a media agency. It's totally a different sector, but yeah, they go hand in hand somewhat when it's come to digital content marketing. So just give us a little throw a light on how your journey has been so far from these 18 years, and how did you start off, what happened that you thought, okay, I want an e-learning platform now and I would want to go about things like that.
Yeah, thank you. Thank you for having me with you. Your first line of me being idle, I should send that recording to my wife. Yes, she
Okay.
definitely. Jokes aside, I think I've been very lucky. I've worked with some fantastic teams, fantastic bosses, of course, fantastic colleagues, etc. The life about Having said that, life about 15, 16, 18 years back was very much more sorted than this. The rise of startup ecosystem had not happened. The entrepreneurship was not heard of, and digital was just about settling in. So 90s, mid 90s were still very early days for internet. So I've seen how internet, digital media has become mainstream. So that journey has been very nice, very good. And now it has come to a stage wherein education, etc., is purely digital thanks to COVID, and many other various factors. Today, the benefit of such platforms or education is I can study anywhere in the world on a digital platform virtually. It was not there when we were growing up, so maybe
Yes.
I feel little jealous of this generation, but that's the way life
Right.
is. I think you keep evolving by the decade, so to say. The way I was doing pretty decent in what I was doing while I was doing a job in various media organizations. It's just that a media sales, media product, etc., has a shelf life. So I thought I had learned what I could have in 15 odd years, 14 odd years, and I was getting bored with what I was doing. See, beyond a point, space selling is very boring. I mean, you have a space, you go out and you sell. So events were just about picking up then. Events have also become mainstream in last 10 odd years. So for events, even those were early days. I got bored and I thought, let's do something different. E-learning was not something that we wanted to become.
Oh,
We wanted to become TechCrunch of India. We wanted to write on
oh,
technology, and we wanted to do technology events, including hackathons, etc. It's just that, I mean, I would not want to call it as pivoting, but the way it went into the zone wherein we started doing more events, we became first choice for students to interact with us on emerging technologies, and that has been the play for us. So we work with academic institutions and corporates on one side, and try and train these young students on emerging tech in a very practical environment. So boot camps and hackathons, etc. And the beauty, the way we've defined ourselves is we do not charge either the academic institution or the student. I mean, that's not the model. We are not a consumer play as yet, and I don't want to become that consumer play. I've been
right.
more business to be business, wherein my tech companies pay for the training to these developers, students, and I'm very happy doing that. And that's something that we're trying to do. We're also expanding to new horizons this year, taking whatever we are trying to do to global markets, and that has been the journey. And I believe where we came from, I think it has been a fantastic ride so far.
I mean, that's great that how you're giving return to the community. You feel it's very important in a business model wherein even what a person getting, and a person providing. It's not only about that revenue sources has to be broader, but if you think in deep, if you're providing value, you will be always there in the market. If you're not providing value and you're charging way too much about these webinars, these skillful, then there would be someone coming in and play with the community. And I feel like we are going into web 3.0. Community is the king. Content plus community will be the masters. If you will not be able to build that, you will be out of the business.
Should be. I think you hit the nail. Anyone who owns a sizable, focused community and can utilize that community to drive good quality of content should be the king. And that's the way we are seeing that we and that's the way the entire ecosystem / society is moving.
That's wonderful, because a lot of like I've seen in past couple of years, there's a lot of ed tech startups are just growing. Every day you see there's some e-learning platform or some ed startup getting. But to reach a level, you have spent around 3-4 years now, and you've seen a COVID play as well, which is very important for a startup journey to go through and realize, okay. And then you get a, just because of COVID, I mean, e-learning platforms got that boom. So someone from not that field, I can just see how these digital plays going on and how the community is growing day by day.
No, one more thing that has happened if you look at the appetite to learn emerging technology amongst these students and young developers. So when we were growing up, the need of upskilling ourselves or reskilling ourselves was not there. I mean,
Right.
one could get into a job and sit there on that table for 20 years and get, you know, decent salary. Today, because there are a lot more aspirations amongst the young community like your or young founders like yourself, you are driving skills by the day. You want to add more knowledge to yourself so that you can perform more roles within the organizations have also become very, encouraging of this fact, saying they're also looking at great ideas, entrepreneurship as we call it as. And all of this has driven the rise of skilling and reskilling or upskilling,
Right.
whatever term that you want to call it as. And that has been the play for us.
Yes, and I also feel that uh, while 10 years or 12 years ago, it wasn't something like that. Like you mentioned, a person with a job didn't have a vision to upskill, himself, because there were no way out. I think he has to go and pay a hefty amount of money to these universities to just go on beyond the horizon. And then just thinking about that, he was happy in his own space. He didn't want it to get that skillful.
No, so I think at least we came from that mindset. Hey, when you get into a job, education is there's no need of education.
Right, right.
So pre-education and post-education job are two different things. I think those lines have been blurred massively. Even today, one person is expected to do three skills, four skills, etc. I mean, for any field, you look at your developers; they are expected to have a basic knowledge of designing as well, UI, user experience, etc., etc. You take any field, you are required to do multiple roles, and it's not linear anymore.
Yes, and you also, I feel people, even HR are looking for people who are having 5 to 10 skills now, because it's out there. People are learning, and as we progress, it's not only about one skill. It'll be like a person having like multiple skill, and just having a community, like having a good following, having good skills will be like never ending. You can do freelancing, you can do project work. So that's a big market.
Absolutely,
And
absolutely.
my question to you is, if there is a startup in e-learning and a person is starting up, just and there has been a lot of, I mean, you must have gone through a lot of obstacles. So what can he or she learn from you? How did you shape the reskill journey? Some of your mistakes, I won't say, I would say obstacles, that it was very important that you would like to mention, so that people who are bringing this ecosystem, they understand how to go about things.
So I have made many mistakes, honestly, and I am very, there are days when I'm upset about it, but then there are days when I'm very happy about that. So because that's the
Somewhat.
learning that I had.
Right.
Starting from friendship, friends forming a startup without laying down the rules and regulations,
Okay.
to not maintaining our books of accounts the way it should have been,
Yes, yes, yes.
to various other things, wrong hiring, taking on bets on people, etc., etc. But I would, genuinely want to believe that all of it is part of your learning experience. Of course, there are some instances when the learning cost is very high, and then
Right.
there are instances when you come out, unscathed in that sense. But I made a lot of mistakes. One of the biggest mistake that I regret is not doing the proper documentation even amongst the friends. And I see a lot of people who are, let's say, into 3 4 years of their journey facing that problem, because it's very easy to start in India. You spend 15,000, you have a company in your hand, you start. Problem arises when you start doing billing, and a decent size of billing, and when you are when you want to scale up. When you want to scale up, you need various people performing various tasks, and
Right.
that's where, because at the start, it's like a carpet bombing. Everyone is throwing bombs at each other, but then as you grow,
Blaming. Yeah.
yeah, somebody has to, you know ride a tanker or an F1, etc. So you
Right.
become more specialized. So roles and responsibilities slash rules and regulations is something that I would want everyone to focus on right from the word go. I think absolute clarity amongst the founding team. I think we've suffered, all of us have suffered. I mean,
Yes,
uh,
that's how they learn. Yeah.
but sometimes there is a lot of emotional cost and mental happiness, etc. That's part of the
Right.
package.
It goes behind it. Yeah. Yeah.
Better to document everything right at the start. I think that's something that I would want, definitely. My third bit is keep the cost in check. I think till the
From the
time.
beginning. Yeah.
Yeah. Either, see, I think if you see, and I might be completely wrong. If you see a lot of startups which have grown massively, have had their share of investors' money. So that large chunk of money allows you to take risks and all. Otherwise, if you are a bootstrap, small, etc., and yet you run a very sizable and profitable business, I think that's where you got to keep the control, or costs right.
So right. I mean, the cost. I mean, the rules, and this is really important for the viewers, because in India, two three friends, they have a big vision and they start up. They don't think about all these things. All they are thinking is about the massive result, which they will become a billion-dollar company. And I see a lot of my friends thinking about those things, but not documenting rules and responsibility of a person or a founder on paper, because you have that emotional connect that, yo, you are my friend, yeah, come on, yeah, it's okay, that kind of, I feel that kind of things shouldn't happen, because in the end, while things get bigger, the person's opinion, and I feel we start blaming others, because the other person doesn't have it written, or not performing onto that those tasks, and you feel bad to just go open and say to that person, because that's laid out. So that's a very important point to people who are starting up.
Yeah, I think absolute clarity from day one is the foundation that everyone should try and lay.
Okay, and what do you think? Like you had a partnership with Spark AR, and how is it going? And is augmented reality still a new phase? Because from 2013, like, and I am like quite like I write blogs, and I have a media company myself. So I have seen in 2000, since 2014, this AR has been going on Snapchat, Instagram. They're using this, but it is still not mainstream. So do you think it's still an early phase, or it'll come and then again 5 years, then we'll see slow progress? Or do you think due to blockchain and metaverse NFTs, this will change it, and make it more open ended, while we see players right now in like FIFA, or players in cricket would use AR technology for their brands? Like, will it become mainstream now? What are your thoughts on that?
I thought it has become mainstream in certain sectors already. Look at
All
what's
right.
happening in gaming. I mean,
Yeah,
gaming,
gaming.
you can't do anything with minus AR and that immersive experience. Let's
Right.
let's put it like immersive experience. uh, Health also, especially with COVID and all, your health has adopted. That entire sector has adopted AR technology in a very right manner. While everything that you said is right, it has been there. The best use cases are still those, effects that you get to see on Snapchats
Yes,
and
yes.
Instagram. Having said all of this, I think the time has come. Plus, we got to also think it from the perspective as an end user. I'm just the user there. We will get AR thrusted upon us by these large tech companies in next 12 to 24 months. You look at what's been happening with let's say sales of headsets, VR headsets. They're continuously on the rise, which essentially means if there are takers, you got to give them the content, which is what is also happening in Indian ecosystem. People are investing in AR programming series, localized content. Gaming, of course, is happening. So I think now the time has come, and it becoming more secured in that sense, that the way it
Right.
gets delivered via blockchain, etc. It will only give it an impetus for better adaptability, and that's what I feel. It'll go beyond filters in next 12 odd months is definitely I see. So we work with a lot of academic institutions. A lot of academic institutions are setting up AR labs. They are building. You had those programming clubs and cloud. So AR clubs are coming up, etc.
Oh, all
Which
right.
essentially means if adaptability by the educational institutes start to happen, I think the time has then come. It will become
Yes,
mainstream.
yes,
Yeah.
right. Because once we set out the course, or we set out some subject, people will just come there, and that's how it'll, this ecosystem will get more and more transformed, as we are seeing. So,
Absolutely.
okay. And what, like, coming from even a media standpoint of view, what do you feel? How can like a lot of people, this is a very different question. uh, like, there is social media for now, there's sexual wars going on for a lot of youth. What would your suggestion to those people? Or like, you are coming from an e-learning platform, to see that a lot of social media, like, people are not able to get themselves off this, and they can have a better way of looking at things through these e-learning platforms. So what would your like opinion on this would be?
See, I think to each on his own. There are people who've been spending a lot of time on social media, etc. One of the And it's a very generic statement to make, and I'll tell you why. With the uh, data, whatever cost going down massively, and internet penetration now becoming bigger and better by the day. A typical Android phone is about 5,000 rupees in this
Yeah,
country, 6,000 rupees. The social media consumption is on rise. All of us has
definitely.
seen it. You look at it from a perspective of how many local content creators have emerged on any of the OTT platforms, on YouTube, etc. Of course, this
Right.
has a flip side to it, wherein our younger audiences who should have been investing their time and effort in something more creative are hooked on to. But I think, as I said, to each of on his own. Everyone will find their way to consume social media the way they want to. Like let's talk between you and me. How much time do you spend? We do not get time to get onto
We do not
Facebook
give
or
because we are passionate
Instagram.
about what we're doing. Yeah, that's
So
why.
I
Hmm.
think it's also the it also has to be with the life cycle of the product and the country, because we have a lot of younger generation as our demographics. I think that you will see a lot of content consumption on social media. But maybe 5 years, you look at what's happening on Facebook now. There are no new audiences going on to.
Yes, it's just
Yeah.
because I think the data privacy kind of
See,
maneuvered, and that's how they came with the.
I think
Uh,
people are bored already. Privacy, I'm not sure, because I think India may nobody has the time to get onto those
yeah,
aspects
they
of.
say I agree to everything. They don't even read what's there.
Otherwise, you can't
Data
download the
security. Yeah,
app. So
yeah.
we have younger team here in our office, and if you want to download any dating app, like you said, you got to give them permission. So there is no other way to download anything. My point is, if there are certain level of people who are spending a lot of time on social media, giving an impetus to lot of content targeting them. There are organizations who create content for younger, but then there are organizations who've been targeting in a very meaningful manner the quota factories. That kind of content, the knowledgeable content, etc., also is coming. But my genuine belief is there's a life cycle. So content consumers who have been consuming a lot of content, 3 years down the line they will fall down to their
Oh yeah.
jobs, education, etc. So that it's just that because India can supply a lot of those 15 to 18 years, that content consumption will always be on
Be
rise.
there. Yeah, because
Plus,
of the audience also.
you've given a device to even the lowest income person here in India. Your housewife in a village also is consuming
Yes.
a lot of content. Yeah. So I think that size and scale, sir. I think we are a 1.5 billion population. The content consumption would always be on the rise, and people are now exploring with the content. But having said that, all of this, you look at what's happening with Netflix. They've had reduction in number of registrations. Is yesterday report said. So I think it will all balance out in next 5 odd years here in India as well.
And like you see, you mentioned about Facebook. That's why they have changed their name to Meta, because they know people, we have to do something for them to have a different way of coming on board with that.
You know, I would want to believe that you can an individual like you and me can be there on one or two social media platforms only. So when I was growing up, see, LinkedIn is my professional requirement, quote unquote. When I was growing up, Facebook became my first protocol,
Mainstream.
and I've
Hmm.
ever
Right.
always been on Facebook. With you growing
Okay.
up, maybe Instagram was your first protocol,
Right.
and therefore
Right.
the next generation might just be on Instagram and not on Facebook, hypothetically talking.
Right.
Some other new platform would come, and generation after that. So I think you can only do two or three. Twitter, I think, has been the biggest success story. It has cut across the age
Yes,
barrier.
yes.
Everyone
There
is
was a
using it.
small content, that's why it's easy for anyone to just be there.
But I'm very, very bullish on what WhatsApp is trying to do now with communities, with content integration, payment becoming so
Payments, oh yeah, yeah, yeah.
they'll become big.
Yeah, that's for sure. They're part of Facebook
Native
ecosystem.
languages, native languages. I think no one has
Yes.
been able to crack that native language here in India.